cross-legged. You can sit up on a bolster, a blanket, or even a chair if you like. Okay, let's get going. Okay. So come to a comfortable seat. And if you bring your hands to these pointy bones of your hips, this is called the iliac crest. This part of your pelvis should tip forward slightly. Okay, so we're just tipping that part of the pelvis forward slightly, so you're going to retain that curve in your lower back. And then bring your hands to your thighs, and as you do that, feel your shoulders moving away from your ears. So we're trying to create some space there. And then start to breathe in and out through the nostrils. And let the inhalation be an extension of your spine, and let the exhalation just be a softening. So we keep the extension of the spine on the inhalation, and the exhalation, we just allow the chest to relax, allow the belly to relax. So we're not collapsing. We're trying to expand the breath. And in yoga, we breathe in and out of the nostrils if possible, for the most part. Our inhalation is the extension, and our exhalation is the relaxation or the letting go. And there's a word or concept in yoga, a parigraha, which is a Sanskrit word that means letting go. And this period in history is really challenging our ideas and our ability to incorporate that. You know, every day we wake up and we think, well, today is not going to be what I thought it was. It's going to be different. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And on your next inhale, think of something that you're attached to. Maybe it's your phone, maybe it's a certain type of food, or a certain place you go every Wednesday. Take an inhale, visualize that, and then as you exhale, see if you can just let that image dissolve and float away. And then just take a couple normal soft breaths there. So parigraha is the practice of letting go, non-attachment. Visualize another image in your head, something that you're pretty sure you're attached to, maybe a person, place, or thing. Take a nice full inhale. See that image in your mind, and then exhale. Just let it dissolve away. And then a few normal soft breaths here. Keeping the illumination of the spine. And then one more time. This time we're going to take the fullest inhale we can. Nice full inhale all the way up to the top. Once again, visualizing something that maybe you are attached to. And exhale, let's release this one out the mouth. Good. And then just go ahead and open your eyes. And you're going to sweep the legs up. Hands like paddles. You're going to give a little pat all the way up and down the legs. So this is just something I like to do to wake up the circulation. Good. And then hands to the backs of the knees and just a little bit of a rub there. Okay, great if you've been sitting. Now I'm going to ask you to take your blanket. You could also use a bolster for this if you have a bolster, but it will be more intense, okay? So you might want to start with the blanket. You're going to take the blanket and you're going to roll it up like a jelly roll or a taquito or, you know, whatever, burrito. You're going to place that right in the center of your mat. I have like 3 pairs of glasses here. Gonna move those out of the way. You're gonna turn with your back to your bolster. And we're gonna lie back onto our mat. And I want that bolster to hit me right at the very tips, bottom tips of my scapula, my shoulder blades. Okay, so you have to finagle that a little bit. You can come down onto your forearms first, and then the head's gonna drop back and the arms are gonna come out to the side. Okay, so take a couple of breaths here. I can't even see my screen anymore, but I'm feeling a really nice upper body back bend. And I hope you feel that too. For some of us, this might feel a little intense. And that's because this is an area of the back, the thoracic spine, that actually curves the opposite way of what we're encouraging right now. It has a little bit of kyphosis. Some people have a lot of kyphosis. So this is a great exercise to kind of stretch that part of the body and release those vertebrae and push them in the opposite direction. Take a couple full breaths here. So this time, our non-attachment, our letting go is to any tightness in that upper back or in the area of the chest. Heart opening back bends, very, very good for our heart, our lungs. And they can be very energizing. Back bends are very energizing. So great to do in the morning hours in particular. Good. Now on your next inhale, you're going to go ahead and you're going to roll yourself over to the right side. Now I'm going to keep my bolster here, but I'm going to move it down a little bit under my rib cage. And I'm going to bring my arms in front of me. You may want to pad your head. That's up to you. If you don't like the way this blanket feels, just move it out of the way and lie flat on your side. Your arms are stretched in front of you, palms are stacked, knees are lifted at a 90-degree angle. Take an inhale. As you inhale, you're going to open your top arm, your left arm out to the side into a T cross. As you exhale, you're going to bring the hands back together again to position 1. Good. Try to flow here. Make it nice and gentle. Inhale, open up. And exhale. Coming back. One more time. Inhale, open up. We're going to pause here for a few breaths. I want you to have the opportunity to feel this opening. Now, if it's too much on your shoulder, armpit, chest, just leave your left hand on the top hip. You're still getting a beautiful upper body twist. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. You can experiment with moving the arm up and down. You know, the muscle fibers of your pectoral muscles, they are horizontal and also diagonal. So sometimes it feels good to lift the arm up a little bit. All right, good. Now keep everything the same, but swoop that left arm up alongside your ear. My fingertips are on the floor. And then I'm going to stretch the top leg out towards the front of my mat, letting my foot rest at the front of the mat, and I'm reaching from my fingertips down my arm, through my armpit, through my hip, all the way down to my heel. I'm going to try to remember to breathe here, and if you want to feel more stretch here, you're going to move your top foot back a little bit. That's creating a long, like almost C shape or bow shape through the body. This is a really nice psoas stretch. I feel it a lot in my left hip because that's the hip I have arthritis in. I used to be a ballet dancer and I danced for many, many years, probably way too long. So I do have some arthritis in my hips, but yoga has really helped with that. I know you're all feeling this. Okay, bring your knees back together and bring your hands back together. Rest for a second. Good. And then swoop it over to the other side. So coming onto the left side, you may have to reposition that little bolster. Or again, if it doesn't feel good, just do it on your side. Bring your palms together, stack your palms, lift your knees up to a 90-degree angle. Inhale, open your arms, T-cross. Maybe the hand doesn't come all the way to the floor. It doesn't matter. You are your own boss here. Exhale. You're listening to your body. That's the one thing that's going to come out of this pandemic is we're all going to be super aware of what what we like, what we don't like, what's important, what's not, and how to take care of ourselves, right? Inhale, open to a T-cross. You're gonna pause there. Remember, you have a ton of options. You can just rest your hand on your rib cage, on your hip, keep it low. I'm liking the T-cross right now, but I've already done a little yoga this morning, so, depends on what you've done today. Most important is the breath. Inhale, we're getting illumination in the pose, and exhale, we're just releasing. And twists are so important for the health of our spine, but they need to be done safely and with intelligence. Listen to your body intelligence. Swoop the right arm up, fingertips are gonna come to the floor. At this point, I adjust my gaze towards my left hand. Then I'm gonna move the right leg back towards the front of my mat, right foot towards the front of my mat. This hip's a little bit better on me, so I'm gonna move my foot back and get that long line and that psoas stretch there. Now I'm feeling my shoulders hunching up, so I'm gonna relax my shoulders down for one more breath. Good, then bend the knees together, bring the hands together. And once again, you're gonna roll onto your back. At this point, grab your bolster and slide it down until it's under your hips. And this should feel good on your shoulders now. So this is kind of undoing some of that, if you had any tension in your shoulders there. From here, you're gonna pull your right knee in towards your chest, all right? You're gonna give it a good squeeze, because you have a large concentration of lymph nodes in this area. If you need to check your computer screen, by all means do. But once you see where what I'm doing, move your gaze back towards the ceiling again, okay? Because it's not optimal for the neck to be torqued in these positions. Then you're gonna bring your hands behind your knee and interlace your fingers on your thigh, the back of your thigh. Now, some of you might wanna stretch your left leg. Again, this is a nice hip flexor stretch. And here we go. If that doesn't feel good, bend it again. Inhale, you're gonna straighten the right knee or move towards straightening. Exhale, you're gonna bend. I don't even care if it straightens. What I care about is that you keep this thigh close to your belly, okay? Woo, I really feel that awakening in the hamstrings all the way down to my toes. So a little bit of nerve work there. Important if you're feeling any sharp pains or like electrical sensations, back off a little bit. And again, we're using the breath. The inhale is the lengthening. The exhale is the bending. Let's do one more. Inhale and exhale. Good. Give it another squeeze, pull it in tight, drop that right foot to the floor, and then bend the left knee, pull it in towards the chest. Now you have to feel this out. Maybe it's great to stay right here. That's what you're gonna do. Maybe you're gonna stretch the right leg long. You're gonna switch the fingers to the back of the left thigh, and you're gonna keep the left foot flexed. Relax your shoulders. Inhale, go ahead and straighten. Exhale, go ahead and bend. Now again, my left side, for me, it doesn't feel great if my leg is really super close to me. So I'm gonna let it move away a little bit, because I want you to feel good. I don't want you to be in pain, okay? Yoga is about allowing the body to open up, to breathe, to link that body-mind connection. It's not about suffering. One more. Good. And then bring the left foot down, please. And now you have an option here for just a moment to stretch both legs out and to reach your arms overhead. Take an inhale, point your toes towards the floor, and then on your exhale, flex your feet and bring your arms alongside your body. Full body stretch. Here we go again. Inhale, pull the belly in. Exhale, bring the arms alongside the flexing the toes back towards the shins. One more, inhale. Get long through the side waist. Exhale, flexing the feet, bringing the arms alongside the body, and then just relax everything for a second. So you can already feel that. I'm going to guess that was about 10, 15 minutes of yoga. You can already feel that yoga in your body. Go ahead and bend your knees. You're going to roll off of your bolster to one side or the other. Doesn't matter which side. And come on up. Okay, so we're going to come onto hands and knees or tabletop pose right now. If you have a blanket and you want to put it under your knees for padding, go ahead and do that. Let's see, I think I'll face this way because my window's this way. I always wonder if my neighbors can see me doing yoga. Hi there. And if you see me on my phone, I'm just checking the time. I promise I'm not texting. So coming into hands and knees pose, tabletop we call it. I'm gonna ask you to spread your fingers really wide on your mat, and we roll from the pinky finger to the index and thumb, okay? So this is good for the wrists. We're gonna take a couple of cat-cows here. So this means on our inhale, you're gonna lift your tailbone, sag your belly. You can look forward, but don't crank the head up. It's not great for the neck. Exhale, you're gonna arch, pull the belly into the spine and move the hips towards the shoulders, chin towards chest. Those are your two movements. Here we go again. Cow pose, sag that belly, lift that tailbone. You are getting that lordotic curve in the lower back. And then exhale, rounding. You're probably gonna feel this more in the upper back, but try to tuck your tailbone. Let's do a couple more of those. That feels good. Inhale. And exhale. And let's take one more. Inhale. And exhale, rounding. Okay. So put that in your memory banks. That's a great one for releasing the back. Then I ask you to widen your knees and let's settle back into a child's pose. So the hips are going to round down over the tailbones. You can stay up on your forearms. If you're already feeling a lot of stretch in the thighs and the lower back, just stay here. If you have the flexibility, you're going to drop your forehead to the floor and stretch the arms out a little further. Going to be here for about 3 to 5 breaths, so try to relax, let go, and feel. Remember, if something doesn't feel good, please just come on out of it. Give yourself permission. Did you think I fell asleep? I didn't. Wouldn't that be funny if I just fell asleep and we were there for another 45 minutes? Anyway, no, that didn't happen. You're going to walk your hands in front of your shoulders slightly, okay? This is a shoulder stretch for the upper back. You're going to inhale your right arm up towards the sky as you press your left hand into the floor. And then as you exhale, we call this thread the needle. I'm going to bend my left elbow, slide the top of my palm down towards the floor, and maybe even touch my head to the floor. But then I'm going to come back up again. Inhale. I like this flowing motion here. And then exhale, sliding the top of the palm along the floor, touching head if I can. One more time. Inhale, come on up, reach for the sky, and then exhale, sliding. And then we're going to hold this one. Now, if your head doesn't reach the floor, maybe you have a block or a book. You can prop your head up, but we're not crunching the neck, okay? We're relaxing and breathing. Option to come up onto the fingertips of the left hand. This is going to bring you a little bit deeper into the stretch. Beautiful. And then bring yourself back up. We're in tabletop, but the hands are slightly forward. Inhale the left arm up towards the sky. Exhale. So we're kind of wringing out the upper body. Good. Take it again. Inhale, stretch the arm up. And exhale. And nice warm up for the upper back, but I'm also feeling it a little bit in the lower back and in my outer hips. You can come on to tiger claw fingers here if that feels good. And don't be afraid to kind of move within the context of the pose. We don't have to be perfectly still. We're always kind of making these little adjustments, you know, microsurgery in the lower back here, just by maybe tucking the tailbone. But always remembering to breathe. Good. And then bring yourself back up. Once again, you're going to open your knees wide and you're going to move back to child's pose. Turn your palms up for a moment to let your wrists relax. Good. And then come on up. You're going to walk your hands towards your feet. If you need your blocks at the front of your mat to help you get up and down, I encourage you to take those. But we're just going to come into a lunge position. So I'm facing the front of my mat, and I'm going to bring my right knee forward. And like I said, I'm kind of wanting to work this as a balance pose, but if you need support, you can always have your hands or fingers on the blocks or even a chair at the front of your mat. So those are your options. What is important is that your knee is over your ankle. I know you know that. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and lift my left arm up towards the sky. So I'm getting a little bit of a stretch through that frontal hip on the left thigh. I want to add a little more, so I'm going to reach up and I'm going to grab my left wrist and I'm going to bend to the right. So I hope you're doing this with me. And I hope you're feeling it. That's my hope for you. This one's amazing for opening up the frontal hip. We have a tendency to do a lot of flexion in our hips, but not as much extension. So this should feel pretty good. Good. And then inhale, bring yourself back to the center. Interlace your fingers behind you if you can. If you can't, just bring your hands to your hip. And let's get a little upper body back bend. So with the interlaced fingers, you're going to gently look up, or with hands on hips, press the elbows together and gently look up. Good. And then you can either bring your hands back down to the blocks if you need support, or just come down to tabletop pose for a minute. Shake it out, just like a dog wagging its tail. You're going to switch sides. Left foot's going to come forward. Have the integrity of the root. The foot presses down in the front, knee over ankle. This back foot can be tucked. That can be helpful if you have sensitive knees, or it can be flat. That's up to you. Inhale. Right arm comes up. Get nice and tall through this right side. So we want to open up intercostal muscles here. Go ahead and grab the right wrist and take a little bit of a bend. You don't have to go far to feel this. And I always say that's the gift of aging, right? You don't have to do that much to feel it. But what's important is to be able to do something every day. So I really believe yoga is a perfect form of exercise for that, because we don't have to do a ton to really feel it, but it keeps the body strong, fluid, functioning, all those things. I'm really pressing down into my front foot to hold the balance here. Good. Inhale, come back up, and then come back to tabletop pose. All right, a little bit of core work, because I know you want that. Stretch your right leg out behind you, hip height. So it's just level with my hip. My toes are pointing down. My thigh is pointing towards the mat. I'm going to stretch my left arm out in front of me. And then I'm going to start to make little circles with my foot and with my hand, or I'm actually thinking kind of like with my wrist. So I'm circling about 5 times. Then I'm going to stop and circle in the opposite direction. Now this is one exercise I wish I could really see you. If you fall over, that's okay. Believe me, I have. I've been practicing this one though because it really engages the small muscles in the core and the abdomen. Good. Bring your hand down, bring your knee down. Let's switch sides. Find that root first. Find the left leg internally rotated in the thigh, toes point down. And you can stay right here. This is still a wonderful core exercise. But if you're feeling frisky, go ahead and start doing the circles. Circling, circling, circling. Good. And then start to circle in the opposite direction. This is kind of messing with the brain a little bit. Good. And then bring the hands back down, the knee back down. All right, good. Now we're going to come down onto our bellies and we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So for Sphinx pose, I'm on my forearms. My legs are extended behind me. And I'm lifting my chest towards the front of my mat. Again, fingers are spread. I'm rolling from the pinky finger towards the thumb. Now, I want you to extend the legs out long. At this point, you may even feel your knees lifting off the mat a little bit. And you're just keeping the glutes kind of soft right now. So we're not clenching. We're just holding the Sphinx pose. If you feel you want a more intense position, you could move into seal, meaning your hands would turn out, get a little wider, and the arms would straighten. This puts more pressure in the lower back, so not really recommended if you have any disc issues in the lower back. Come back to Sphinx. Feel the chest moving forward, and you should almost feel the belly in the front stretching. Good. Now you're going to bring yourself down, and you're going to pull your hands back till your thumb is in line with your armpits. Rest on your forehead for a moment. Relax your legs. Take a breath. On your next inhale, cobra position. Lengthen your legs. Come up, keep the elbows pretty close to the body. And then exhale, release down again. Good, beautiful. Just go as much as feels good. Inhale, come on up. Again, not gripping the glutes here. Exhale down. So I want to work the back muscles. Inhale. This time, if you can, please stay. Breathing. Elbows close into the body. Chest is forward. Oh, one more breath. Open, open, open. Good. Exhale, release down. Rest for a moment. Let all the muscles in your lower back relax. So imagine that your lower back is like a pat of butter and it's just melting in a pan. Good. Then you're going to bend one knee and then the other. You can widen your knees out a little bit if you like. You're going to reach back and grab the foot, the ankle, your pants, whatever you can grab. If you can't reach your feet, go ahead and just bring your hands to your hips. On your inhale, we're going to lift the shoulders and the head off the floor as well as the thighs. Exhale, release down. Good. Try again. Inhale. Start with the belly button lifting towards the spine. Exhale, release down. One more time. Inhale, lift up. See if you can hold this for one breath. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing together on the back. Good. And exhale, release down. Let go of the feet. And just rest in crocodile for a moment. Notice your breath. It might be a little bit quicker. That's okay. We're working a little bit of cardio now. We're going to press ourselves up to tabletop pose. At this point, take your blanket out of the way. We're going to take a downward facing dog. So you're going to tuck your toes. You're going to move your hips back over your heels and come into a down dog position. Now, if this feels like too much on your wrists, walk your feet a little closer. Okay? You can also take it nice and wide. We're not tucking the chin. Head is relaxed. Please bend your right knee and keep your left leg straight with the left heel pressing into the mat. Switch sides. Bend the left knee. Press the right heel into the mat. Good. Then come back to the center, both heels into the mat. On your next inhale, we're going to come back to cow pose. Remember I said hang on to that feeling? Here we go. Sagging the belly, knees on the floor, tailbone lifts. Next exhale, you're going to sink your hips back towards child's pose. But then just as you arrive, you're going to decide to come back up to cat pose, rounding the back, chin towards chest, and then back to downward facing dog. This is a great flow. Let's try it again. Inhale, come back to cow pose, knees on the floor, tailbone lifts. Exhale, rounding into cat pose. Relax your head. Good. Inhale, come back to cat pose, rounding the back. And then exhale, down dog. Here we are. Now, please walk your hands towards your feet towards your hands. Bend your knees really deeply. Bring your hands to your thighs. Lift with your head to come up. If you feel at all dizzy, keep your gaze on the floor till you get all the way up. Once you feel well-founded, you can go ahead and lift your gaze up. Okay, good. So now we're going to do a couple standing sequences. And again, I really love having blocks at the ready. If you could have one block, you could do a tower of 2 blocks, like so. Another option, if you don't have blocks, but you're not hugely experienced in yoga, or you have any physical issues you're dealing with, such as knees, hips, things that won't allow you to bend really deeply, you could use a chair, okay? And I'm going to have the chair so I can demonstrate the modifications, but you don't have to use the chair. Okay, so I trust that you're all okay. I'm seeing, okay, looks good. So we're coming to mountain pose. Feel the shoulders back and down. Feel the side waist nice and long. Take an inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the ceiling, palms touch. As you exhale, bring the palms together in front of your heart. Namaskar. Inhale, stretch the arms back up. And as you exhale, come into a forward fold. Now, if you have your chair here, you're going to go just to a half position, a forward fold, but not a full deep forward bend. And this is appropriate if you have any disc issues. If you're able to go all the way to the floor, you're going to take that. Good. Then on your next inhale, you're going to come up halfway, fingers to shins or to the chair. Fly the chest forward. And then exhale, forward fold again. Good. And then you can keep a slight bend in the knees. Come all the way back up to standing. And this is just a half sun salutation. Let's try that again. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the palms to the heart. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And then airplane dive down. Remember, you can stop halfway at your chair for support, or you can come all the way down to the floor. Inhale, come up halfway. And then exhale, forward fold. And then keeping a slight micro bend in the knees, round up or spring up, come all the way up. Let's go a little further. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the palms to the heart. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And option to stop with the support of the chair or to come all the way down to the floor. Inhale halfway. Exhale, hands to the chair or the floor. Send the right foot back into a lunge position. If you're using the chair, you might have to adjust and bring it more forward. Okay? If you're using the blocks, they can be under your hands, or you can have your hands on the mat. Really press into that back foot. Get really strong and long here. And then on your next inhale, you're going to bring your feet back together and go back into your forward fold, either with the chair or without. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, let everything go. And then roll up or spring up. Come all the way up to standing. Feel the shoulders back and down. Let's take that on the second side. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, palms to the heart. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And exhale, airplane dive down. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left foot back. Coming into a lunge. I have to move my front foot forward. I want to make sure that front knee is over the front ankle. Remember, you could also be doing this with the support of the chair or the blocks. We're just working our lunge position here. Getting long and strong through that back leg. Good. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and spring forward. Bring the feet together. If you can, drop into your forward fold or support of the chair. Take a nice big breath. And then roll up. Come all the way up to standing. Find yourself in mountain pose. Good. All right. Now, I'm going to face the camera. I'm going to face the music. Bringing your blocks to the back of your mat. If you don't have blocks, go ahead and bring your chair over to the right side of your mat. Come into a wide standing position. Stretch your arms out to the side. Feel the inner thighs zipping up the center of your body. Okay, like you're zipping up a wetsuit. Stretching your arms out. On your next inhale, turn your right, I'm going to mirror you. Turn your right toes out and turn your left toes in a little bit. Oh no, my block fell. Take another inhale. We're going to move into Trikonasana. So you're going to come forward a little bit first. Then you're going to find your block behind your front foot. And this top arm is going to reach for the sky. You also have the option to keep this hand on the hip. If your shoulder's feeling tired today, what I want you to feel most is this rotation of the rib cage. Okay, and that's why I use the block, because we're getting this really nice alignment here. So a lot of times I see people with their hand on the floor doing Trikonasana, but then they're leaning forward like this, and I want the opening. Good. Knees are straight, but not locked. Excellent. Now, from here, use your abdominal core to reach, come all the way back up. Rotate the right toes in. Bring your hands to your hip. Take an inhale here. Exhale, stretch the arms out. Inhale, turn the left foot out and turn the right heel back a little bit. So this gets a little bit more on a 45-degree angle. So this hip can come forward a little bit. Go ahead and reach towards the front. Find the block or the chair behind you. Okay, and an option if you're using the chair is you could come down onto your forearms. And this feels really good. I have a tendency to lock my knee, so I'm going to make sure I have a slight micro bend in that front knee, but I'm still lifting the hamstrings, and then I'm rotating rib cage, heart, lungs towards the camera, towards the front. Breathing. You can feel this front leg, upper thigh rotating under. Good. Very, very good. And then inhale, bring yourself all the way back up. And rotate those toes forward. Bring your hands to your hips. Now, again, you may want to block here. So if you want your block, bend your knees and find it. Or you can bring your chair forward. Give you a second to do that. We're going to take a forward fold here. All right, so the block is in the front. You're going to bend from the waist. And you might want to keep a little bit of micro bend here. Bending from the waist. And then either forehead to the block or the chair. If you can straighten the legs, you're going to do that. Little bit of support for the forehead can be very calming for the brain. So take a couple of breaths here. And it's okay to shift the hips side to side a little bit if that helps you feel your center. Good. And then inhale, you're going to come all the way back up, bringing the hands to the thighs and lifting with your head to come up. Heel toe your feet back together again and shake out the legs. All right, good, good, good. Now, we're going to come down onto our mat for just a moment. With your knees bent. And you're going to, once again, like we did at the beginning of class, interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. And then I want you to lean back until you feel your core engage. And then if you can, you're going to go ahead and you're going to straighten that leg like we did earlier, but you're using your abdominal core to hold this balance. So it's half boat pose. Now, you have an option here to stay or to reach the arms out parallel with the thigh. Go ahead and pull it back in, bend the knee, open the knee out to the side, and stretch the left leg. Go ahead and gently reach towards your left toes. Take a couple of breaths there. I really felt that thigh one. That didn't feel friendly. Take your hands and see if you can get them to the outside of your left leg now. Let your head drop down. So I'm not rounding in the back, but I am releasing my neck. Tendency to overwork in the neck there. Good. Walk your hands back up. Take your right knee, take your left foot, and place that whole thing up on top of your left leg. Okay, so this is causing my right thigh to actually be off the floor. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, see if you can reach towards the left foot. Good. Inhale, up. Exhale, reach. Last one. Inhale, up. Exhale, reach. And your hands are either going to go to the outer edges of your foot, to your ankle, to the mat. And we're just letting gravity work this position. You can adjust it. If you feel like the knee is getting too much, you can bring your foot down lower on the left leg. Or you could even bring it higher if you want more. You crazy, crazy kid. Couple of breaths here. Any variation with the arms. Gaze can be forward. This is a wonderful way to extend the back muscles. Just breathing, letting go of any tension or stress in these outer hips. Good. And then come on up, release the legs, lean back on your hands, and just mindfully move the legs in and out. Okay? We're going to take that on the other side. So you're going to come to knees bent. Now, if you found that last one was not feeling good to you, you can just stay here with the feet on the floor. Otherwise, you're going to bring both hands to the back of the left thigh now, very similar to what we did at the beginning of class. Go ahead and squeeze those shoulders together, lift the chest. So imagine that you have a rope from the middle of your chest up towards the ceiling, and then you're going to stretch your left leg up towards the sky. Maybe lean back a little more. Maybe release the arms. Oh, hello, hip flexor. Hello, thigh muscle. One more breath. Good. And then go ahead and support the leg as it comes back down. Stretch the right leg. Let the left knee open to the side. And again, you have your blocks, you have your blanket. You can prop up that knee if you need to. Feel your sits bones on the floor, and then go ahead. And we're just bending from the hips here, okay? So it's not necessarily about getting flat over your leg at this point, unless you have that kind of flexibility naturally. you're probably just going to go maybe 6-8 inches. Better to do that than to round, okay? Because we want a extension in the lower back here. Breathing here, getting longer, all the way through the crown of the head. And you can soften your belly a little bit. You could round your tailbone down. Keeping your mind on exactly what you're doing here. And if your mind tends to wander when we start to get a little slower like this, just bring your attention to the breath, which is easier said than done, but that's part of our practice. Inhale, bring yourself back up. You're going to take your left knee in your left hand, your left foot in your right hand, and you're going to actually place it on your thigh, or you can place it on your shin. You don't want to place it right on the knee. So one of those two places. Inhale the arms up. Get tall through your side waist. Exhale, bending from the hip, reaching forward. Good. Inhale back up. And exhale over. Last one. Inhale back up. And exhale over. We're going to hold this one for a few breaths. I find it effective in this pose to relax my belly a little bit and feel my outer glutes rolling down, my tailbone lengthening towards the floor a little bit, but I'm getting really long through my spine. I can hear someone cooking in my kitchen. I hope it's lunch. Couple more breaths. Awesome. And then you're going to come on up. Release that leg out. Okay, so hips are pretty warm. We're going to move into pigeon prep pose, or Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. So I like to get into this very simply from hands and knees pose. And again, feel free to have the blanket under your knees if you need it. I can pause and wait for you to get that for a second. Good. And then you're going to slide your right knee forward until it's behind your right wrist. And you're going to move your left foot forward until it's under your left hip. Then I'm going to start to move my left leg back, sinking my hips towards the mat. This back leg needs to roll under, okay? So it's not turned out, it's rolled under. And you may find that this is already really intense, so you're just going to stay here. Some of you may be able to come down to forearms or even head to the floor. So stay there. If you're having trouble with this pose, I'm going to give one more option. For this option, you would need either a bolster or a large pillow. And some of you may be able to put that bolster or large pillow right under the back thigh, enabling this front knee to come down. So I'm not sitting on the bolster, I'm actually just resting my back leg on the bolster. But this creates a downward trajectory in which I can get into pigeon with less stress on my hip joint and my knee. So that's another option for you. Okay. And again, I encourage you, if you have any special circumstances and this doesn't feel good, you could also do it on your back. We sometimes call this figure 4 pose. You've probably done that before. So it's the same muscles, just not as weight bearing. Okay, so those are all the options I can think of right now. If you remember, you can always email me at kapostolina@gmail.com and we can have a discussion about your hips, about your knees. I'm not a doctor. but I do know yoga to a certain extent. So if you have questions, please feel free to contact me. Couple more breaths here, please. Let go. Tension in the hips. Tension in the glutes. Awesome. And then to come out of this, folks, you're going to walk your hands towards your front leg. You're going to bring one hand to either side of the mat, tuck your back toes, and you're going to move into downward facing dog for a moment. And I know that's a little awkward to get in, but it feels so good once you get there. And you can paddle it out. Take a few breaths. Then you'll bring yourself back to hands and knees pose. You'll slide your left knee forward until it's behind your left wrist, and you'll nudge your right heel under your right hip bone. Then I start to move and nudge this right leg back. Okay? And there you are. Remember, you have the option also to do this on your back or with the bolster, supporting that back leg and giving you that forward trajectory or forward diagonal towards the floor, which makes it a lot easier. So finding the version that works for you, we're going to be here for about 6 breaths. And I invite you to see if you can lengthen your inhale and exhale a little bit here. Because we're getting very close to the end of class, and so we want to start again to even dissolve our attachment to this practice. We were working with that aparigraha, the non-attachment, the dissolving of our grasping, whether it's ego-driven or desire-driven or just habit. Good. Let go, relaxing, and then walking the hands back up. Tucking the back toe, using the force of your hips moving back to come into downward facing dog for the last time. Feel the upper arms rotating away from the ears, please. So you're not rounding inward and pinching. You're rotating and getting broad through the back. And then on an exhale, bring yourself back down onto your knees. Good. And then we're going to lie back down on our mat. And at this point, if you have a bolster, go ahead and get that bolster so you can have it under your knees. You're going to place your blanket right up at the top of your mat. And you're going to lie down on your mat, allowing the bolster to be under your knees, allowing your head to be on the blanket. And you may want to even roll the very bottom of your blanket so it has a support for your neck. And then you're going to open up your palms and your arms to the side. And just for a moment, feel your body. Okay, so before we drift off into Shavasana, I just want you to take your awareness to the things that have changed in your body, the sensation of your yoga practice. You know, what I feel when I lie down in Shavasana very often is just sort of a fluidity, more of a warmth in the joints. I feel my body is unclenching. I invite you to close your eyes. You can cover yourself with a blanket. If you feel you want to be warmer, you can cover your eyes. And we are going to take a 5-minute Shavasana. So really allow yourself to rest and relax. And notice. Notice the feeling in your body, because that is the real yoga. It's not the asana we do, it's the residue that the asana leaves in your body. Take a nice full breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Please take a full breath in and a full breath out. Gently start to move your fingers and your toes. Next, start to circle the wrists and ankles, loosening in one direction and then the other. And then go ahead and stretch through your body like a morning yawn, inhaling through the arms and the legs. Exhaling loudly out the mouth. Bend your knees, roll to the side to seal in your Shavasana, your final relaxation. And then when you're ready, come up to a comfortable seat. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this YouTube Live. I hope you enjoyed the practice. I hope if you did, you'll leave a comment or a like, or you'll email me. And if you feel like you'd like to have more of a conversation, please just email me with any questions you have about our practice. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Namaste.